Signing up with CryptoWatch doesn't cost anything. I encourage you guys to click that link below and sign up with CryptoWatch. Use the platform, check it out, see how it feels. Personally, I've been using it for the past 2 years. It is my preferred platform for not only charting, but also trading. I can trade from all the top exchanges on this platform and manage my entire crypto portfolio on this platform. But definitely go ahead and just create a free account. It's awesome for just monitoring the market in general. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson. Today I want to discuss the price of Bitcoin. I also want to go over the formation that we're in and how it's similar to the formation of the bottom of the bear market, and why this likely could mean that we could still be headed towards my downside target of about 7,500 before getting a major bounce in this market. And I also want to go over the Google Trends data. So first and foremost, let's look at Bitcoin on the daily chart. Bitcoin did range from 9,300 to about 10,900. In the last video, we were talking about how we still had about a couple $100s to the upside before we hit that downward sloping resistance, and we did get that couple $100 move to the downward sloping resistance line. And now we're seeing a little bit of rejection just above 10,900. Looking at the 4-hour chart, 10,940 was that resistance point, coming in just along the downward sloping resistance. So right now, my short-term bearish indicator is the blue 21 EMA. If Bitcoin does have a retrace, if we break below the 21 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, that would indicate to me that we would be looking for further downside, really just continuing the descending triangle pattern, looking to retest horizontal support, potentially another bounce back before a break out to the downside of the descending triangle. And this is still what I think is most likely. Now, in order to get a real breakout here, we need to get above the downward sloping resistance in range above 11,000, and of course hold above that level and break above 11,400. And if we do get a break above 11,400 and gain support along this line here, then of course more upside is very likely. At that point, you'd be retesting, maybe 12,000, maybe 13,200 again, maybe 13,800 again. But as of right now, we're not getting that. We still see a decline in volume. We're just retesting, we're getting a standard retracement up to the downward sloping resistance. And if we do start to get rejection from this point, I would say, that next support is the 21 EMA, also on the daily chart here. If we get a break below the 21 EMA on the daily, we should be looking for further downside at that point, retesting horizontal support and just continuing in the descending triangle. And at that point, it becomes extremely likely to get a classic breakdown out of the descending triangle to my downside target of about 7,500. Now, let me just move on to this chart right here. This chart right here shows us that, right now we're in a similar pattern to what we saw that ended the bear market, right? We saw an ascending triangle breakout for the end of the bear market. Right now, Bitcoin is in a descending triangle. So we have a similar pattern here. We have in the bear market, we had higher lows, horizontal highs, and we broke out of that region. Right now, we're looking at horizontal lows and lower highs. So we literally have pretty much just a spitting image of these two patterns right now. It's incredibly similar here. Now, of course, this indicates that it is more likely still that we would be getting a breakdown at this point. And if we do get a breakdown, I do think that we would be ranging to about $7,500, which is the golden retrace from swing low to swing high. The golden retrace comes in at about 72 to 7,300. A lot of people are going to be looking at this level. As you guys should know by now, if you're looking at the weekly chart, Bitcoin ranged from swing high to swing low. Bitcoin did range back up to the golden retrace, right? From swing high to swing low, Bitcoin retraced to the golden retrace here. So if we do break to the downside of the descending triangle, which I still think is more likely, we should be finding support along the golden retrace, and this would be perfect market structure for a large scale uptrend, right? And we would be moving along a trend that would look something like this, which is similar to what Bitcoin saw in 2015 before the breakout, just moving along an upward sloping trend line. This is 2015, or this is 2015 going into 2016 here. And I think we would be doing something similar. As you guys know, this is the analysis we've had on this channel for a while now. Nothing has really changed yet. In order to get a major change in my analysis, the 236 right now is coming in at about 11,200. But more importantly, it's that 11,000 level, right? We had the resistance here in July. We had resistance here in August. And right now we're getting resistance resistance here again. And right now we are confluent with the downward sloping resistance, right? The 11,000 level is now confluent with the overall downward sloping resistance line. So in order to get a major change here, right, in order to convince me that we do have a bullish case in the near term, we need to get above this 11,000 level and hold above that level, gain support on that level and range out of here. And you know, until then, I'm going to go along with the pattern that I see here on the chart, which is a descending triangle, and it is more likely still, considering the decline in volume, that we should be continuing to consolidate in this range. But of course, once we start to range above 11,000, then my opinion begins to change. If we get above the downward sloping resistance and we get above 11,000 and gain support, then of course my opinion changes at that point. But right now, nothing has really changed. So I'm still looking for this overall descending triangle to play out unless we start to range above that 11,000 level. So right now, the Google Trends data is pretty interesting. We're seeing, you know, a decline in searches for Bitcoin. Right now, the searches for Bitcoin are lower than in the bear market, which makes sense. You know, Bitcoin was dumping, and it, you know, a lot of people were in fear, so people were searching Bitcoin at that point. Maybe some people were looking to buy Bitcoin at that point. So, you know, Google searches did see a bump right there. And of course, when we started to peak at 14,000, we saw a nice increase as well. Now, right now, we are starting to move below levels of the bear market. So we have less searches now than in the bear market. So that's not necessarily what you want to see. But overall, you know, if you're looking at Bitcoin in the past 5 years, this is nothing new. You know, before bull markets, you know, the searches aren't really that high. So it's actually nothing new. I'm not too concerned about the Google searches. So one thing that a lot of people look at is the search term buy Bitcoin. Now, buy Bitcoin, you know, is it is an important thing to look at, but it's not really what you should be looking for. If you're looking over here, the yellow line is the buy Bitcoin search volume, and the red line is Coinbase search volume. And you can see over here that Coinbase gets, you know, almost quadruple the amount of searches than buy Bitcoin. So personally, what I look at is the Bitcoin search term for overall interest in Bitcoin. And in terms of finding out if people are interested in buying Bitcoin, I search for Coinbase, which is the most popular exchange for the average person to get involved with. So Coinbase shows me how many new people are interested in getting involved in Bitcoin, the search term Coinbase, and Bitcoin shows me the overall interest in Bitcoin. And buy Bitcoin is sort of, you know, it's kind of important to keep in mind, but overall I'm looking at, you know, Bitcoin and Coinbase. I'm looking at the people searching for actual exchanges to actually get involved in Bitcoin. I think that's a little bit more important. But that's going to be it for me today. Hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in seeing more videos, and I will see you all in the next video.